Hi, welcome back to the Cuzzy Sound channel. And with the arrival of the English autumn weather, I thought it'd be a good time for a rainy day project. I found these in a local charity shop, electronic drumsticks. They're just a bit of a toy really, but couldn't resist. I thought, yeah, I can probably do something with those. So that's the drumstick. Kind of has a tip at the end and there's a little speaker in the back. Let's turn it on. You can either tap the end and you'll get whatever sound that's supposed to be, or if you wave it in the air hard enough, you will get a trigger there as well. There's a couple of other sounds. Press the button here. We have crash cymbal, I suppose, and then the classic electronic tom. Not much else really. That's pretty much it. That's all it does. It's a small speaker on the end with not much of an output, but I thought, hey, it's got to be open to some kind of hacking in there, a bit of circuit bend. So I opened it up, and when I got inside, I found that the circuit board, it's one of those that's I'll just turn this off so it doesn't trigger. It's one of those that is just a very small board with a black blob in the middle and then just wires coming out. So the scope for circuit bending is somewhat limited, but there are a couple of wires that go to the speaker in the end of the drumstick. So I thought, right, well, probably the most simple hack you can do would be to put an output jack in line with the speaker so I could get the audio out and then start doing other things with it. So the circuit for doing something like that looks like this. So you've got a switched socket there, and you connect the original destination, in this case the speaker, to the switch. You connect the audio that would be traveling to the speaker to the tip, and then there's the earth connection on the sleeve of the jack. If you look at an actual jack and look at what those connections look like, this is a thonk style jack, but they're all pretty much the same. I've not actually used one this big on the mod. I'll show you that in a second. But to explain how the switch looks, this is a normally closed switch, so with nothing plugged into the jack, the output still goes to the speaker. When you plug something into the jack, it cuts out the speaker. And now I've done a visual demonstration of that, in case I'm not making much sense. So there's a short clip which will show how that works in practice visually. I've got a very simple little breadboard circuit here to demonstrate how the switch jack works. So this is the jack. The red lead is connected to the tip. The green lead is connected to the switch, and as I said earlier, this is a normally closed switch. So at this point, with nothing plugged in, the red lead should be connected to the green lead, and then there's obviously the earth. And so you can get a visual indication of what's going on, I've got a red LED in line with the red lead and a green LED in line with the green lead. So the green LED is on the switch, the red LED is on the tip. And for my signal, I've got a simple 3-volt battery pipe, basically to drive the LEDs. But this could be an audio signal going into the connections on the jack plug. So with nothing plugged in, as I said, it's a normally closed switch, so both the red LED connected to the tip and the green LED connected to the switch are lit. Now I've got a jack plug here. If I plug this jack plug in to the socket, you can see that the signal is still going from our input, battery pack, through the red lead indicated by the red LED, and it's going to the output because we've got a little light in my jack that I've just plugged in. But what you should notice is that the green LED has now gone out because this signal is no longer going to the switch. By plugging the jack in, I've opened the switch. Take the jack out, it closes the switch, and the green LED is back on again. So wiring it up for audio, the output from whatever audio you want to capture would go to the tip, the red lead, and the pass through to the, say, the speaker, in our case it's the speaker inside the drumstick, would be connected to the green lead, so that when I plug anything into the jack socket, the speaker is disconnected. So that's a very simple visual demonstration of how to use a switched jack socket for this purpose. Well, I hope that made some sense. So there is the modification actually on the drumstick. I would have liked to have fitted the jack inside the drumstick and just had kind of the end of it poking out. There's very little room at all in there, so even with that smaller style jack plug that I've used there, jack socket rather, that I've used there, I couldn't get it inside. So I've just basically strapped it to the outside and sealed it up with a bit of heat shrink. But what it does do is I can now take the audio out, so I can use these sounds, turn them on. I can take that sound and put it through an amplifier, an effects pedal, or even a synth. Yeah, let's go and have a look at what we can do now we have an output. Before I plug this in, just a word of warning. If you plug in anything like this that you mess around with into any other equipment, do be careful. You don't exactly know what the actual output of this is. I know it's fairly low on this thing because it's only driving a tiny little speaker. If you've got something that's got a much bigger output, then maybe one of the things to consider would be putting some kind of volume control, like a potentiometer or something, between the output and the jack, so you can actually back off whatever signal is coming out here. I mean, I've had this in here, so I know that I can put this through here without doing any real damage. But yeah, I thought I'd just start with that word of warning. If you're going to do something like this, then be very careful when you come to connect it to anything else. Right, if I connect into anything else, plug that in there. Where this lead is going now is into this mixer. The reason for that is because this will then allow me to actually take the signal out to, I don't know if you can see it, this is the audio mixer that I use for the synths, which is what's recording. Well, that's not recording the computer. Anyway, that's where the audio is going out to record the video. So turn this on. So what I'm not getting now, the sound isn't coming out the end here. If I turn that right down, there's no sound because I plugged it in, so it's as it was demonstrated with the LEDs, because the sound is now going through this mixer and into this, from one mixer to another mixer. But what it does mean is I can start and do things like dial in a bit of effects. So a bit of Bit of ambience there. Or back it off slightly. Or what we can do, I'll try a different effect. How about a bit of delay? Well, that's one thing you can do, have a bit of fun dialing in effects. It's back to normal sound now. But what I really wanted to do was be able to trigger synth modules with this drumstick. And what I found earlier on was one way I can get the signal out of here and into something that will trigger things on here. Plugging it into that module, which is a gate to trigger module. So it will take any reasonable size signal, normally a gate signal, from a clock or a sequencer or something, and produce a short spike trigger signal out the other end. I didn't know what it was going to do with this. I just thought, can I get a trigger signal? And so, well, yeah. Okay, where's it going? So one output is going into a VCF, and then the output from the VCF is going up to the mixer. If I take that down, so it's the sound generated by this that's being passed through. I've actually turned the wrong one. Whoa. There we go. I'm getting my wires crossed, literally. Oh, it's gone into oscillation. What I've also done, I've got a copy of that trigger going into an envelope here, and the envelope is triggering the filter. So if I slower the attack, we can get all sorts of interesting effects there. But then I've also taken another trigger output to trigger the kick drum. So I can now trigger, which is the what I was twiddling before instead of the right one, I can now trigger the kick drum with the drumstick. Done that one now. You're getting some from the noise circuit in here that produces what they pretend to be snares and things. You're getting some of that passed through, which is why you get that kind of grittiness in the with the kick drum. So if I do the synth tom, some of that's being passed through, because what you're not getting, the way I'm doing it, you're not actually getting just a clean gate to trigger signal. You're actually getting some of the audio being passed through as well. So you're getting quite a wide frequency range going through rather than just a trigger spike. But I do quite like that dirty kick. So if we start and put everything together, and we kind of bring something in, go back to a bit of delay. Right, I'm just getting silly now. I'm just basically messing about. But I think what you can see, you're probably getting bored of me just messing about now. So what you can see is that going from the very, very simple toy drumstick sound with a very, very simple modification, you can create all sorts of weird and wonderful sounds via your DIY modular synth. So if you've got a toy drumstick, or you can, sorry, it's turning it off. If you've got a toy drumstick or something of the similar lying around, and you fancy having a go at doing something a bit different with it, then just add a jack socket. It's very simple. I've shown you how, so go on, have a go. Build your own.
Classic sound.